The sinking of Iranian ship by US submarine signals a maritime escalation that is right in front of us. And for India, it is a strategic warning that you can see that yes, Iran-US-Israel conflict has not entered Indian Ocean yet, but it seems that it is not far away. Because the place where sinking has happened is not far away from Indian coast. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to understand that how this war can actually be closer to us than we can ever think of. This is the place where the war might enter Indian waters as well. So why are we saying this? What exactly has happened? Let us try to understand that. So as I mentioned that US submarine has targeted an Iranian warship. So I am talking about Iranian frigate Iris Dina. Now this is where we have seen casualty of 87 sailors which were on board. A few of them have been rescued, but this shows the fact where this has happened, that is 40 kilometers off the coast of Sri Lanka. That means this is right present in Indian Ocean. So this fight, this war has gone beyond Middle East already and it has entered Indian waters. And the more problematic thing here is, what is India going to do? Now this question is targeted towards India. Why not towards Sri Lanka? Because of two important reasons. Because this event is not something that can be seen in isolation. This is such a strategically significant event in a negative way, because last time when a US submarine had hit a warship was back in World War II. Now it has happened in Indian Ocean. This is why people are looking towards answer on the Indian front. And second and more connected reason is the Iranian warship that has been targeted. It was coming back from Visakhapatnam where Milan exercise had just concluded. So now in this context, India's statement on this, or where India sides, becomes very speculative. That is what people are looking towards. Furthermore, another important context which we might need to establish here for better understanding is clearly the fact that what had begun in Middle East theatre, it will not remain restricted there. It has already been seen that it is not just about Israel, US and Iran anymore. It is about every other ally, be it with US or be it with Iran. So this is where, for example, if we talk about Azerbaijan, geographically a little afar, but because of associations of Azerbaijan, and when we talk about Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict, Iran has always sided with Armenia. So Iran has launched a drone attack on Azerbaijan. So Iran is trying to flung the fire so as to ensure that US has to consider the risk, the cost of this war and probably drop down its guns. However, when we are talking about this particular scenario, the first thing that we need to look into that why did US target the Iranian ship? So the first answer that might come to your mind that obviously they are in war, they will target each other. But you have to keep in mind that was not in their territory. This is happening in Indian Ocean. So why did US target Iranian ship in Indian Ocean? That is the question. The answer here is that US wants to show that Iran, you can be targeted anywhere. We want to neutralize your naval capabilities and we can do it anywhere and anyhow. Now, as of now, as per the reports, already 20 plus naval assets of Iran have been destroyed by US. But the whole idea for targeting, as I said, is to send a message and most importantly prevent the Iranian disruption that has been caused at Strait of Hormuz. I have explained that in detail already in the earlier video. You can go and watch that, especially from the context of India. And US also wants to degrade what Iran has as naval but asymmetrical assets, be it the missile boats, naval drones, then we have sea mines. So US wants to establish its dominance and show that when we are talking about Iran in this context, they can be targeted even beyond, and their operations beyond Middle East will not be tolerated. Now this is where another dimension walks in, is the fact to understand that is war really entering Indian Ocean? So if we are looking at earlier theatre of conflict, so you might see that it is not Israel, Iran, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria and Persian Gulf. it also has more than 7 countries apart from these. I am talking about Saudi Arabia, I am talking about Qatar, which was one of the mediators. Qatar was the mediator between Iran and US. Iran has not spared Qatar. Then we have UAE, and now as we see more additions to the list, the most recent one is Azerbaijan. Now in this new development, this strike which has taken place in Indian Ocean, this basically shows that this is nothing but extension of this conflict. But the problem with this conflict is, if you look at this region, then you will be able to understand this better. As of now, Iran is placed here. Now conflict is surrounded in this region. I'm specifically talking about Israel, then Iraq is there, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Oman, all of this region. But when we are talking about it entering here, you also have to keep in consideration that we are looking at some global choke points. Strait of Hormuz already disrupted. Yemen, Houthis, which are part of axis of resistance, already creating trouble here, another global choke point, Bab el-Mandeb. Now, if it comes southwards, there are 2 other points which are at risk, because when we are talking about Indian Ocean, we have 4 global choke points. We have Mozambique Channel right here, Bab el-Mandeb, Strait of Hormuz and Strait of Malacca. So, if this moves southwards, which is a possibility, because as we have seen, this is just one event, this is not going only to impact global oil supply chain, but it is going to affect the trade across the globe. So, all the global supply chains are going to be affected, and this is what exactly Iran is targeting. Iran wants to raise the cost of the destruction so that everybody considers backing off. Now, to understand that part better, that why India is under the guns given this very situation. So, first you have to understand that this is a big economic factor for a developing country like India, that how, if more supply chains are disrupted, how are we going to manage? But there are other factors that we need to look into. First of all, this has happened in India's maritime sphere. It has occurred near Sri Lanka and it is present in Indian Ocean region. That means the war is looming closer than us, and we are in a place where we cannot take a side. Because if we are talking about US, we are a strategic partner. We have allied with them for defense, we have allied with them for trade deals and so much more. But at the same time, when we are talking about Iran, we are dependent in terms of energy imports, we are dependent in terms of Chabahar Port and so much more. Furthermore, the part where Iranian ship was coming from Milan naval exercise at Visakhapatnam, that means that Iranian ship would not have been there if not that for exercise. Now, this brings in some answerability, because this event has a symbolic diplomatic implications towards India as well. And another important factor that comes in directly here, that India needs to strategically balance, because any answer that might offset any of these parties will not go well with India. So, as a result, India has to very carefully ensure strategic neutrality and make sure that this particular event does not amount to anything bigger in terms of security problems in Indian Ocean, and also in terms of costs with Iran or US. Because what this war might turn into in coming days, we don't know, but stakes for India as of now are really high. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.